What if everything you thought you knew about the heroes and villains of ancient myths was wrong? For centuries, we've labeled certain characters as monsters, villains, or rebels, while celebrating others as noble and virtuous. But what if the lines between good and evil weren't as clear as we've been led to believe? Across cultures and generations, mythological figures have been reduced to stereotypes, their stories twisted into oversimplified legends that mask their true complexities. Today, we're diving into the lives of 10 of the most misunderstood mythological characters in history. Together, we'll uncover the hidden layers of their tales and explore how their reputations have been shaped, distorted, and in some cases, completely transformed over time. Are you ready to challenge what you think you know and discover the truths buried beneath the myths? Let's begin. Now turning to our first character, Medusa. Her name immediately conjures the iconic image of a monstrous woman with venomous snakes for hair, her gaze capable of turning anyone to stone. In Greek mythology, Medusa was one of the three Gorgons, but unlike her immortal sisters, she was mortal. Her story, however, is far more tragic than the monstrous image would suggest. According to myth, Medusa was once a beautiful maiden, a devoted priestess of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. Her life took a devastating turn when she was assaulted by Poseidon, the god of the sea, within Athena's temple. Rather than punishing Poseidon, Athena directed her wrath toward Medusa, transforming her into a Gorgon. Her hair became writhing snakes, and her once beautiful face became a visage of horror, forever marking her as an outcast and a figure of fear. This tragic transformation raises questions about justice and victimization in ancient tales. Was Medusa truly a villain, or was she a victim cast into a monstrous role through no fault of her own? Modern interpretations have begun to re-examine Medusa's story through a feminist lens, portraying her as a symbol of resilience and power in the face of injustice. Artists and writers have reclaimed her image, presenting her not as a monster to be feared, but as a figure of defiance against a world that wronged her. This reinterpretation reveals the deeper layers of Medusa's myth, challenging the simplistic narrative of good versus evil and showing how ancient stories can evolve to reflect contemporary values. Moving forward, let us delve deeper into how Medusa has transcended her original portrayal as a monster to become a symbol of strength and resistance in modern times. Across the centuries, her story has been revisited and reimagined, particularly in art and literature. No longer confined to the role of a fearsome creature, Medusa has emerged as an emblem of empowerment, especially within feminist interpretations. Her serpentine hair and petrifying gaze, once seen as tools of terror, have been reinterpreted as symbols of formidable power, a reminder that even those cast into the shadows can rise to embody resilience. Artists like Caravaggio once captured her as a symbol of horror, but more contemporary works, such as sculptures by feminist artists or literary reworkings, have redefined her image. In these modern depictions, Medusa is not a figure of fear but a force of nature, unyielding and unbroken. She is seen as a guardian of boundaries, standing against injustice and serving as a reminder of the strength that emerges from overcoming adversity. This shift in perspective challenges the traditional narrative, turning Medusa into a lens through which broader social themes of victimhood, transformation, and empowerment are explored. Her story reminds us that myths have the power to evolve, reflecting our changing values and inspiring us to find strength in our own struggles. This reinterpretation not only underscores Medusa's enduring relevance, but also highlights the dynamic nature of mythology as it continues to resonate with audiences across generations. Now turning to Loki, the infamous trickster of Norse mythology, we encounter a character whose complexity goes far beyond his reputation as a troublemaker. Often cast as an antagonist, Loki's role in the grand tapestry of Norse tales is far more intricate and multifaceted. He is neither wholly evil nor purely benevolent. Instead, Loki thrives in the gray areas, a master of unpredictability who embodies both chaos and cunning. His relationships with the Aesir gods, including Odin and Thor, are equally complicated. While he is often at odds with them, he is also an integral part of their stories, at times aiding them and at other times causing havoc. Loki's actions often lead to dramatic consequences, but they also result in some of the most significant gifts to the gods. For example, it was Loki who orchestrated the creation of treasures like Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and Odin's spear, Gungnir artifacts that became essential to Norse mythology. His cleverness and quick thinking drove these outcomes, revealing a side of him that is resourceful and even beneficial. Yet, his motivations remain a subject of debate. Was he driven by a sense of mischief, a hidden agenda, or perhaps a desire to test the boundaries of fate itself? This ambiguity is part of what makes Loki so fascinating and often misunderstood. Seen through a broader lens, Loki represents the unpredictable forces necessary for growth and transformation, reminding us that even chaos has its place in the balance of the universe. Moving forward, Loki's story takes a darker turn as his role in the Norse apocalypse, known as Ragnarok, comes into focus. While his mischief and cunning were often disruptive, it is during Ragnarok that his actions culminate in events of unimaginable scale. Loki, once an ambiguous figure navigating between ally and adversary, fully embraces his role as an agent of destruction. Bound by the gods for his previous transgressions, his eventual escape marks the beginning of the end. He leads an army of chaotic forces, including the fearsome giants and his own children, such as the serpent Jormungandr and the wolf Fenrir, both of whom play pivotal roles in the downfall of the gods. His confrontation with the gods, culminating in his battle against Heimdall, results in mutual destruction, a fitting yet tragic end to a character who is both a creator and a destroyer. Yet, Loki's part in Ragnarok is not entirely about villainy. His actions can be seen as the necessary catalyst for the cyclical nature of Norse mythology, where death paves the way for rebirth. Ragnarok is not just an apocalypse but also a prelude to renewal, and Loki's role is a reminder of the impermanence of even the greatest powers. In modern times, adaptations like the Marvel movies have reimagined Loki's character, often portraying him as a misunderstood antihero. While the core elements of chaos and cunning remain, these portrayals humanize him, exploring themes of identity, redemption, and even vulnerability. This nuanced view has reshaped public perception, turning Loki into a symbol of complexity and transformation rather than just rebellion and destruction. It is this layered existence that continues to captivate, making Loki an enduring figure of fascination and debate. Now turning to the enigmatic realm of the underworld, we encounter Hades, the Greek god who governs over the domain of the dead. Often misunderstood and wrongly depicted as a sinister figure, Hades is far from the malevolent being so many imagine him to be. In Greek mythology, his role is not one of villainy but of balance and order. Hades ensures that the dead receive the respect and justice they deserve, serving as a necessary counterpart to the gods of Olympus rather than an antagonist. Unlike the fiery infernos often associated with the modern concept of the underworld, Hades' realm, while somber, was not inherently a place of torment but a neutral space where all souls, regardless of their deeds in life, would find their final resting place. One of the most intriguing and debated aspects of Hades' mythology is his abduction of Persephone, the daughter of Demeter. This act, frequently framed as an act of villainy, has deeper layers when viewed through the lens of time. Some interpretations see it as a dark and troubling tale of captivity and loss, while others suggest a more complex narrative where Persephone's journey to the underworld symbolizes transformation and the cycles of life and death. In some versions of the myth, it is suggested that her eventual acceptance of her role as queen of the underworld reflects a kind of partnership or union, albeit one initiated under complex circumstances. Regardless of interpretation, the story of Hades and Persephone weaves themes of inevitability, renewal, and compromise, offering a richer view of Hades than his often one-dimensional portrayal as a villain. Moving forward, let's explore how Hades has been brought to life in modern media, a realm where his character has been reimagined in countless ways. Animated films often cast Hades as a flamboyant villain, drawing on his association with the underworld to emphasize qualities of deception and greed. These portrayals, while entertaining, often simplify his complex mythology into a caricature of evil, overshadowing his role as a fair and balanced ruler of the dead. Yet, not all modern depictions are so one-dimensional. In contemporary literature and video games, such as the acclaimed game titled Hades, we see a more nuanced take on his character. Here, Hades is presented as a stern, dutiful figure, deeply committed to his responsibilities, but not without moments of humanity and depth. These portrayals allow audiences to see him not as an antagonist, but as a multifaceted being navigating his role within an intricate mythological framework. Such interpretations challenge the traditional notions of good versus evil and invite us to think critically about his true nature. By broadening the narrative, modern media encourages us to revisit Hades' mythology with greater appreciation for his complexity, subtly reshaping our perceptions of this misunderstood god. With this in mind, we now turn to another figure whose story has sparked centuries of debate and redefinition, Lilith. Now turning to Lilith, we find a figure steeped in layers of mythology, controversy, and cultural reinterpretation. Emerging from Jewish mythology, Lilith is often cast as a demon, a seductress, or even a figure associated with sorcery. But to truly understand her story, we must unravel the origins of these portrayals. According to some ancient texts, Lilith was created as the first wife of Adam, made not from his rib but from the same earth as him, placing her as his equal. When Adam demanded her submission, Lilith refused, choosing instead to leave the Garden of Eden rather than compromise her autonomy. This act of defiance was revolutionary, but over time, patriarchal societies recast her narrative, transforming her into a demon who preyed on children and men, a stark contrast to her initial portrayal as a strong and independent being. Yet, in modern times, Lilith has experienced a powerful resurgence in feminist literature and culture, celebrated as a symbol of women's empowerment and rebellion against oppressive norms. Her story has been reclaimed as one of courage and self-determination, inspiring countless works of art and analysis that honor her resilience. By challenging traditional narratives, Lilith invites us to reconsider how we define strength and agency, making her a compelling figure who continues to resonate deeply in contemporary discussions about equality and empowerment. As her tale unfolds, it becomes clear why Lilith remains a subject of fascination and reinterpretation across centuries. With her story fresh in our minds, we now delve into how her image has been shaped and reshaped over time, reflecting broader societal anxieties and shifts in power dynamics. Moving forward, let us unravel the depths of Lilith's demonization and what it reveals about societal dynamics over time. As patriarchal ideologies gained dominance, Lilith's defiance and independence were reframed as dangerous threats rather than admirable qualities. Religious texts and folklore began to paint her in a far darker light, portraying her as a demonic entity who embodied chaos and malevolence. She was described as a seductress preying on men and as a child-snatching creature, cementing her image as a fearsome adversary of social order. These portrayals were not arbitrary but appear to reflect deep-rooted societal anxieties about the potential disruption of traditional gender roles. Lilith's refusal to conform to subordination challenged the established norms of male dominance and female submission, making her an easy target for vilification. Her story became a cautionary tale, warning against the consequences of female autonomy and rebellion. By turning her into a demon, patriarchal narratives sought to suppress the very traits that made her revolutionary. However, this demonization tells us more about the society that created it than it does about Lilith herself. It highlights a persistent struggle over power, control, and the fear of upheaval when traditional hierarchies are questioned. Her story exposes the lengths to which cultures have gone to maintain systems of inequality, shaping myths and stories to reinforce their ideologies. Yet despite centuries of such vilification, Lilith endures as a complex and compelling figure. Her demonization may have sought to erase her strength, but instead, it serves as a stark reminder of the enduring tension between oppression and the fight for equality. As we continue to explore misunderstood mythological figures, Lilith's journey offers a powerful lens through which to examine how myths are shaped by, and in turn shape, societal values. Now turning to Pandora, one of the most iconic figures from Greek mythology, often remembered for a single act that has shaped her legacy across millennia. Pandora is frequently blamed for unleashing all the evils of the world by opening the infamous box, or more accurately, a jar. But as we unravel her story, it becomes clear that there is much more to her tale than this simplistic portrayal suggests. According to myth, Pandora was the first mortal woman created by the gods themselves. Each deity contributed to her formation, bestowing her with gifts of beauty, charm, and curiosity, which would ultimately play a crucial role in her story. Yet her creation was not purely an act of generosity. Pandora was designed as part of a divine punishment for humanity, following Prometheus's theft of fire from the gods. Zeus, in his wrath, sought to introduce a source of both allure and eventual suffering into the human world. When Pandora was given the jar, she was instructed not to open it. However, it is here that her tragedy begins to unfold. Driven by curiosity, a trait instilled in her by the very gods who now condemned her, Pandora's decision to lift the lid was not an act of malice or inherent wickedness. Instead, it was an expression of human nature, reflecting our innate desire to seek knowledge and explore the unknown, even at great risk. When the jar was opened, the evils contained within pain, disease, sorrow were released into the world, leaving humanity forever changed. Yet, many myths recount that one thing remained trapped inside the jar: hope. This single detail adds a layer of complexity to Pandora's story, suggesting that even in the face of overwhelming despair, hope lingers as a source of resilience and possibility. Far from being a villain, Pandora's story can be seen as a reflection of human curiosity and the dual-edged nature of knowledge. Her tale reminds us that the pursuit of understanding, while fraught with consequences, is also what drives progress and growth. As we delve deeper into her myth, Pandora emerges not as a figure to blame, but as a symbol of humanity's unyielding quest for discovery, along with the hope that sustains us through the trials of life. Moving forward, reinterpreting Pandora's story reveals an entirely different perspective that transforms her from a figure of blame to a beacon of resilience and hope. The detail of hope remaining in the jar has sparked endless debate and alternative interpretations over the years. In one view, hope is seen as humanity's most precious gift, a counterbalance to the evils unleashed into the world. This interpretation paints Pandora not as the harbinger of suffering, but instead as the unwitting guardian of the one thing that makes enduring those hardships possible. Her act of opening the jar, while often seen as a mistake, can also be perceived as the beginning of a necessary transformation for humanity. By confronting the challenges released into the world, humans were also given the capacity for hope, a force that fosters strength and perseverance in the face of adversity. Some even argue that the act of leaving hope in the jar symbolizes that it was not lost but rather preserved, a reminder that no matter how dire circumstances may seem, hope will always remain within reach. This shifts the focus from condemnation to redemption, casting Pandora as a figure whose actions ultimately enabled humanity to endure, adapt, and thrive. These reinterpretations encourage us to see her tale not as a story of punishment, but as a profound reflection on the human condition. Through the lens of hope, Pandora's myth becomes a narrative about the balance of light and darkness, and the essential role of curiosity in uncovering not just challenges, but also the tools to overcome them. Her story continues to resonate, reminding us that even when faced with overwhelming adversity, hope is the quiet yet powerful force that can guide us forward. And speaking of misunderstood figures, let us now turn our attention to Kali, a goddess whose dual nature has sparked both fear and reverence in equal measure. Now turning to Kali, the powerful Hindu goddess, her image has often been overshadowed by misconceptions. To many unfamiliar with her story, Kali is seen solely as a goddess of destruction and chaos, a fierce figure wielding weapons, her tongue outstretched, adorned with a garland of severed heads. This stark imagery has led to her being misunderstood as a malevolent entity. However, her true essence is far more profound and complex. In Hindu spirituality, Kali embodies the dual nature of existence itself: destruction and creation, death and rebirth, chaos and order. She is not just the destroyer of evil and ignorance, but also the loving motherly protector, fiercely devoted to her children, symbolizing the ultimate power that transforms and uplifts. Kali's destructive aspect, often highlighted in myths, is not aimed at the innocent or the virtuous. Instead, it is directed at forces of darkness and oppression, making her a beacon of justice. She destroys to create anew, removing obstacles and negativity to pave the way for liberation and growth. Her role as a mother figure is perhaps less celebrated but equally significant. In this form, Kali represents unconditional love and nurturing, guiding her devotees towards spiritual awakening and self-realization. She offers protection and strength to those who seek her, becoming a source of empowerment for many. In Hindu philosophy, Kali is a manifestation of Shakti, the divine feminine energy that underpins the universe. Her dance, known as the Tandava, symbolizes the eternal cycles of creation and destruction, reminding us that endings are simply the beginnings of something greater. Kali teaches us to face our fears, embrace transformation, and recognize the impermanence of life as a fundamental truth. Her image, though fearsome at first glance, carries the deeper message that growth often requires confronting and overcoming the darker aspects of our existence. This duality makes Kali not only a goddess of extremes, but also a deeply relatable and profoundly empowering figure. By challenging misconceptions and delving into the true essence of Kali, we uncover a deity who is as much a destroyer of evil as she is a nurturer of life. She empowers us to embrace change, confront adversity, and find strength within ourselves. Her story resonates as a testament to the transformative power of the divine feminine, and her symbolism extends far beyond mythology, inspiring those who seek courage and resilience in a chaotic world. With this clearer understanding of Kali's duality, we see how she represents balance and the interconnectedness of all things. And now, let us continue by exploring another figure steeped in misinterpretation. The Egyptian god Anubis, often misunderstood due to his association with death and the afterlife. Moving forward, let us delve into how Kali's perception has evolved, particularly in Western culture. Often depicted as a terrifying figure in popular media, Kali's image is frequently stripped of its deeper spiritual significance. Her powerful stance, adorned with severed heads and blood-red tongue, has been sensationalized as a symbol of unchecked violence and destruction. Such portrayals reduce her complexity and instead frame her as a figure to be feared rather than revered. This narrow view overlooks her true role as a divine force of cosmic balance, an integral aspect of Hindu spirituality. In truth, Kali is far from a one-dimensional goddess of chaos. Her fierce appearance is symbolic, representing the destruction of ego, ignorance, and evil. It is not violence for the sake of violence, but a profound metaphor for inner transformation. In modern terms, Kali can be seen as a force that urges us to confront our fears and limitations, allowing us to grow beyond them. In Western interpretations, however, these nuances are often lost. Films, television shows, and even literature have a tendency to fixate on Kali's fearsome form, frequently portraying her as an evil deity or a supernatural antagonist. This misrepresentation arises from a lack of understanding of her cultural and philosophical context. In Hinduism, Kali's ferocity is directed solely at destructive forces. She is both a warrior against darkness and a compassionate mother who protects and nurtures her devotees. Her image carries a profound message about the cycles of destruction and rebirth, reminding us that true growth often requires dismantling the old to make way for the new. Interestingly, in recent years, Kali's image has found unexpected resonance in movements advocating empowerment and change. Some individuals and groups have reclaimed her ferocious imagery as a source of strength, viewing her as a feminist icon and a symbol of rebellion against oppression. This reinterpretation aligns with her traditional role as a destroyer of injustice and a harbinger of liberation. Kali's essence as both protector and destroyer provides a framework for understanding the complexities of empowerment. It is not enough to merely create. One must also have the courage to confront and dismantle the barriers to progress. By examining how Kali is misrepresented and reinterpreted, we gain a deeper appreciation of her timeless relevance. She embodies the dual forces necessary for balance and transformation in the universe. Kali reminds us that destruction is not inherently negative, it is a necessary step in the process of renewal and creation. Her story continues to inspire not just spiritual seekers, but anyone navigating the challenges of change and personal growth. As we shift our gaze from the goddess of the eternal cycle to another misunderstood figure, we are drawn to Anubis, whose enigmatic role as a guardian of the afterlife holds lessons equally rich in depth and significance. Now turning to Anubis, we encounter one of the most enigmatic figures in ancient Egyptian mythology. Often visualized with the head of a jackal and the body of a man, Anubis stands as a guardian of the afterlife, a role that has been both revered and misunderstood throughout history. Unfortunately, his association with death has frequently led to misinterpretations of his character, casting him as a sinister or malevolent force. This perception, however, overlooks the profound wisdom and compassion embodied in his role. Far from a harbinger of doom, Anubis functioned as a protector, a guide, and a caretaker for souls as they transitioned from the mortal realm to the eternal. In Egyptian mythology, Anubis is closely linked to the intricate process of mummification and the rites of passage into the afterlife. His duty was to ensure the deceased were properly preserved and prepared for their journey, a task that reflects not fear or cruelty but profound respect for the sanctity of life and death. He was believed to safeguard the tombs of the departed, warding off desecration and enabling a soul's safe passage. Furthermore, Anubis's presence in the weighing of the heart ceremony, a central element in determining whether a soul was worthy of eternal bliss, highlights his role as a fair and impartial guide, not a figure to be feared. In ancient Egyptian culture, death was not the end but a transformation, a gateway to another existence. Anubis's role epitomized this belief, offering reassurance and stability in the face of the unknown. Yet, in more modern depictions, particularly in movies and literature, he is often cast as a dark and foreboding presence. These portrayals wrongly capitalize on his connection to death, ignoring the protective and nurturing aspects of his character. This oversimplification strips Anubis of his nuanced role as a compassionate guardian and distorts our understanding of his true significance. In essence, Anubis symbolizes the delicate balance between endings and beginnings, embodying the continuity of existence rather than its cessation. His story invites us to reconsider the way we approach the concept of death, encouraging us to see it not as a source of fear but as an integral aspect of the eternal cycle of life. By unraveling his misunderstood legacy, we can better appreciate his role as a guardian of transitions, a figure who offers comfort and guidance in moments of profound change. As we prepare to explore how these misconceptions extend into popular culture, we find that Anubis's portrayal is just one example of how modern influences often reshape ancient wisdom. Moving forward, it is important to examine how Anubis has been portrayed in popular culture and how these interpretations impact our understanding of his role in Egyptian mythology. In modern media, Anubis often appears as a dark and menacing figure, his jackal-headed image exaggerated to evoke fear or villainy. Movies and video games frequently depict him as an antagonist, a god of chaos, or even a harbinger of destruction. These representations capitalize on his association with death, turning him into a symbol of terror rather than the protective and compassionate guardian he truly was in ancient beliefs. This deliberate distortion simplifies his character, reducing a complex and revered deity to a one-dimensional trope designed to fit a narrative of fear. For example, in numerous action and adventure films, Anubis is shown commanding armies of the undead or presiding over apocalyptic scenarios, a far cry from his original mythological role as a protector of the dead and a guide through the afterlife. In video games, his image is often used to create an air of mystery or horror, with little regard for the cultural and spiritual significance he held in ancient Egyptian society. While these depictions can be entertaining, they risk perpetuating misconceptions that disconnect Anubis from his true role as a benevolent figure dedicated to ensuring the well-being of souls on their eternal journey. This modern portrayal also reflects a broader tendency in popular media to sensationalize mythology, often prioritizing dramatic effect over historical and cultural accuracy. By painting Anubis as a sinister force, these interpretations overshadow the profound symbolism he holds as a bridge between life and death. They strip away the reverence and respect his character commanded, replacing it with fear and misunderstanding. Such misinterpretations not only skew our perception of Anubis, but also diminish the richness of Egyptian mythology as a whole. By recognizing these misconceptions, we can begin to appreciate the deeper layers of Anubis's character and the wisdom underlying his mythological role. He is not a figure of terror, but a reminder of the natural cycles of existence, embodying the balance between endings and new beginnings. Understanding Anubis in his true context allows us to reclaim the meaningful lessons his story offers about transition, protection, and the continuity of life. Next, we will explore another misunderstood mythological figure, the Morrigan, and uncover the truths behind her enigmatic and often misinterpreted legacy. Now turning to the Morrigan, the Celtic goddess of war and fate, we encounter a figure shrouded in mystery and often misunderstood due to her complex and multifaceted nature. In Celtic mythology, the Morrigan is frequently mischaracterized as a malevolent or bloodthirsty deity, a harbinger of chaos and destruction. However, her role extends far beyond such simplistic portrayals. She embodies not only the ferocity of battle, but also the intricate interplay of prophecy, transformation, and sovereignty, making her central to the spiritual and cultural fabric of the Celts. The Morrigan is often described as a shape-shifter, capable of taking various forms to influence the tides of war and fate. This ability to transform reflects her deep connection to change and rebirth, themes that resonate throughout Celtic mythology. She is a figure of power and foresight, offering prophetic insights that guide warriors and kings alike. Her association with the battlefield, marked by her presence as a raven or crow, symbolizes not just death but also the renewal and balance that follow in the aftermath of conflict. The Morrigan's role as a prophetess and guide underscores her importance as a mediator of transitions, both personal and societal. Beyond her warrior aspect, the Morrigan is intricately linked to the concept of sovereignty. In Celtic lore, sovereignty was often personified as a goddess who bestowed the right to rule upon worthy leaders. The Morrigan's connection to this concept places her at the heart of the Celtic understanding of power and legitimacy. Through her, rulers were reminded that true leadership required harmony with the land and respect for its cycles, emphasizing the deep interconnection between humanity and nature in Celtic belief systems. Acknowledging these aspects of the Morrigan allows us to move beyond the narrow interpretations that focus solely on her destructive qualities. Instead, we discover a goddess who represents resilience, transformation, and the enduring strength found in embracing change. Her story invites us to see conflict as not merely an end but a necessary part of growth, paving the way for renewal and new beginnings. With this deeper understanding, we can appreciate the Morrigan not as a figure to be feared, but as a symbol of empowerment and the dynamic forces that shape life itself. Moving forward, we will delve into how the Morrigan has come to represent themes of transformation and rebirth, revealing her as an archetype of power that continues to inspire to this day. As the next phase of the journey unfolds, we explore the Morrigan as a profound symbol of power, embodying themes of transformation and rebirth that resonate deeply in Celtic mythology. Her connection to nature is pivotal, as she is often depicted as a force intertwined with the cycles of life, death, and renewal. The Morrigan's presence as a raven or crow, often seen perched on the battlefield, extends beyond the grim specter of death to signify the promise of rebirth and equilibrium. In Celtic belief, death was not the end but a transition, and the Morrigan's role in this cycle positions her as a guide through change, offering the wisdom to navigate life's inevitable upheavals. Her portrayal as an empowered female archetype is equally compelling. The Morrigan challenges traditional notions of femininity by embracing both nurturing and fierce qualities. As a goddess associated with war, she embodies strength and resilience, yet her ties to sovereignty and prophecy reveal a more nurturing and guiding aspect. This duality underscores her role as a protector and a catalyst for growth, reminding us that true power often lies in the ability to adapt and transform. The Morrigan stands as a testament to the balance of opposites, uniting seemingly conflicting qualities to create a figure of profound depth and influence. In modern interpretations, the Morrigan has become a source of inspiration for those seeking empowerment and transformation. Her story resonates with individuals confronting challenges as she encourages a fearless embrace of change and the courage to forge new paths. Whether in literature, art, or spiritual practice, the Morrigan's legacy endures as a symbol of the dynamic forces that drive growth and renewal. Through her, we are reminded that within the chaos of transformation lies the potential for profound rebirth and strength. With this exploration of the Morrigan as a symbol of power, we now turn our attention to Prometheus, another transformative figure whose story of defiance and innovation reshaped the course of myth and mankind alike. Now turning to Prometheus, the Titan from Greek mythology whose tale is as much about courage as it is about suffering, we delve into a story that has long been misunderstood. Prometheus is widely recognized as the bringer of fire to mankind, a daring act that defied Zeus, the king of the gods, while tradition often casts him in the role of a rebellious figure challenging divine authority. His actions reveal a far more compassionate and selfless intent. Prometheus saw humanity struggling in darkness, both literal and metaphorical, without the knowledge and tools needed to survive. Fire, in this context, was more than just warmth or light. It symbolized progress, innovation, and the spark of civilization itself. By choosing to bring fire to mankind, Prometheus elevated humanity, giving them the means to create, to protect, and to thrive in a world that had been harsh and unforgiving. However, this act of defiance came at a great personal cost. Zeus, enraged by what he saw as an unforgivable betrayal, condemned Prometheus to an eternal punishment. He was bound to a rock where every day an eagle would consume his liver, only for it to regenerate overnight, perpetuating his torment. This gruesome punishment was meant not only to assert Zeus's authority, but also to serve as a warning against defying the gods. Yet, rather than diminishing Prometheus's legacy, this suffering only underscores his resilience and unwavering commitment to humanity. Prometheus did not act out of rebellion for rebellion's sake. His defiance was rooted in empathy and a deep belief in the potential of mankind. Prometheus's story is a complex narrative of sacrifice, highlighting the fine line between rebellion and heroism. While some interpret his actions as a challenge to Zeus's dominance, others see him as a benefactor who willingly endured unimaginable pain to uplift humanity. This duality makes Prometheus a figure of profound depth, embodying the struggle between authority and progress. His tale resonates through the ages, reminding us of the cost of innovation and the sacrifices often required to bring about meaningful change. With this exploration of Prometheus as a transformative figure, we prepare to descend into the underworld where Cerberus, the infamous three-headed guardian, awaits to challenge common perceptions of monsters in Greek mythology. Moving forward, Prometheus's legacy extends far beyond the boundaries of ancient mythology, positioning him as a timeless symbol of human progress and defiance against tyranny. His act of bringing fire to mankind has been interpreted not just as a mythological event, but as a metaphor for the relentless pursuit of knowledge and the courage to challenge oppressive powers. This symbolism has resonated throughout history, inspiring countless works of art, literature, and philosophy. One of the most notable examples is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, often subtitled The Modern Prometheus. In her groundbreaking novel, Shelley draws a parallel between Prometheus's gift of fire and Victor Frankenstein's creation of life, highlighting the dual-edged nature of innovation. Both figures embody the human desire to push boundaries and explore the unknown, but their stories also serve as cautionary tales about the responsibilities that come with such power. Beyond literature, Prometheus has also left an indelible mark on philosophical thought. Many have viewed him as a champion of enlightenment, representing the quest for freedom and progress in the face of authoritarian control. His defiance of Zeus is often interpreted as a stand against tyranny, embodying the struggle for individual rights and intellectual advancement. Philosophers and revolutionaries alike have invoked Prometheus as a symbol of resistance, using his story to advocate for societal change and the pursuit of knowledge as a means of liberation. The duality of his narrative, both as a rebel and a martyr, offers a profound reflection on the balance between challenging authority and bearing the consequences of such bold actions. Even today, Prometheus remains a powerful emblem of human determination and the quest for progress. His legacy reminds us that the path to innovation often requires immense sacrifice, and that the true measure of heroism lies not in the absence of struggle, but in the willingness to endure it for the greater good. With his enduring influence still shaping our understanding of courage and progress, we now turn our gaze to the underworld, where Cerberus, the formidable three-headed guardian, invites us to unravel the myth surrounding one of Greek mythology's most misunderstood creatures. Now turning to the realm of shadows and mystery, we meet Cerberus, the three-headed dog of Greek mythology who stands guard at the gates of the underworld. Often imagined as a terrifying beast of unchecked aggression, Cerberus is much more than the fearsome creature that popular stories often portray. His role in mythology paints a picture of duty and balance rather than destruction. Charged by Hades himself, Cerberus ensures that the spirits of the dead remain within the underworld and that no living soul dares to enter without permission. This task is not one of villainy but of maintaining the natural order of life and death, a responsibility that is as significant as it is misunderstood. Cerberus's three heads are sometimes interpreted as a symbol of his unyielding vigilance, representing the past, present, and future, or perhaps the different aspects of death itself. Far from being a chaotic force, he is a loyal and steadfast guardian, fulfilling his duty with unwavering commitment. Yet, much like Hades, his association with the underworld has led to a reputation steeped in fear and negativity. Stories often depict him as a monstrous obstacle for heroes to overcome, such as when Hercules was tasked with capturing the beast as one of his 12 labors. These tales amplify his image as a foe to be conquered, overshadowing the essence of what Cerberus represents: a protector of boundaries and a keeper of order. By reducing Cerberus to just a fearsome foe, we risk overlooking the deeper symbolism of his story. He is not a senseless predator. He is a creature of purpose, embodying the delicate balance between life and death that is central to Greek mythology. His presence serves as a reminder of the inevitable reality of mortality and the respect it demands. Through Cerberus, the Greeks conveyed the importance of boundaries and the natural cycles of existence. While often cast in the role of a villain, his true nature reveals a complexity that challenges us to rethink what it means to guard the unseen thresholds of life. As we delve into his myth, it becomes clear that Cerberus is less a figure of terror and more a misunderstood guardian fulfilling an essential role. With this fresh perspective in mind, we move forward to explore how art and modern media have reshaped our understanding of Cerberus, offering new dimensions to the stories of this legendary guardian. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we examine how Cerberus has stepped beyond the pages of ancient texts to become a figure reimagined through art and modern media. In classical artwork, Cerberus is often depicted as a daunting creature, with his 3 heads and serpent-like features symbolizing both an insurmountable challenge and the mysteries of the underworld. These early portrayals reinforced his image as a gatekeeper of the afterlife, a powerful figure whose presence demanded reverence and caution. However, as centuries passed and mythology evolved through different cultural lenses, Cerberus began to take on new meanings. In literature and poetry, he has been both feared and pitied, a creature bound by duty, often portrayed as more tragic than terrifying. This complexity is mirrored in modern visual media, where Cerberus has been reinterpreted in countless ways. From his appearance as a colossal, fire-breathing guardian in fantasy films to his role as a formidable video game boss, Cerberus is commonly depicted as a symbol of raw power and unstoppable force. Yet, these portrayals often strip away the depth of his mythological origins, focusing instead on his might and ferocity. Interestingly, more recent creative works have sought to explore his softer side, presenting Cerberus through a lens of loyalty and even affection. Video games like the one titled after the Greek underworld god portray him not only as a fearsome protector, but also as a companion with a sense of loyalty to his master, Hades. This shift highlights a growing interest in showcasing his role as more than just a monster, but as a character bound by duty and devotion. In literature as well, reinterpretations often cast Cerberus as a misunderstood figure, his fierce nature balanced by his unwavering purpose. These modern depictions reshape our perception of not just Cerberus, but Greek mythology as a whole, encouraging audiences to look beyond the surface of what these figures represent. By presenting Cerberus as a multidimensional character, art and media remind us of the underlying themes of duty, balance, and the inevitability of death that pervade Greek myths. As we reflect on these reinterpretations, it becomes clear that the way we view Cerberus today reflects our own evolving understanding of ancient stories and their timeless relevance. With this enriched perspective, we now prepare to uncover the shared threads that connect the many misunderstood figures we have explored throughout this journey. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we arrive at the heart of what unites these 10 misunderstood figures, the common threads that weave through their stories. At their core, these mythological characters embody dualities: villain and victim, destroyer and creator, monster and protector. They challenge the notion of simple categories, forcing us to see them as reflections of human complexity. Misconceptions about their roles often stem from cultural shifts or historical reinterpretations. Take Medusa, for instance, whose transformation from a feared monster to a symbol of resilience highlights how perspective shapes interpretation. Similarly, Loki, often dismissed as merely a trickster, reveals the nuanced interplay of chaos and balance necessary in any narrative. These figures remind us that mythology is not static. It evolves with us, adapting to reflect the fears, values, and aspirations of each generation. Another striking theme is the way myths explore the human condition through these characters. Hades and Cerberus, once seen as symbols of ominous finality, now inspire stories of duty, loyalty, and the inevitability of life cycles. Through Pandora's curiosity and Kali's transformative power, we see the age-old struggle between order and disruption, and Lilith's tale serves as a mirror for societal tensions around autonomy and conformity. These stories resonate because they encapsulate emotions and dilemmas still relevant today: fear of the unknown, the desire for justice, the yearning for balance. Modern reinterpretations also highlight how art, literature, and media continue to shape our understanding. From the reimagining of Anubis as a guide rather than a harbinger to the transformation of the Morrigan into a symbol of empowerment, creators today redefine what these figures represent. This evolving lens serves as a reminder that mythology is not just a window to the past but a living narrative we continue to write. Together, these shared themes emphasize that myths are more than ancient relics. They are timeless stories that evolve to help us explore the complexities of our own experiences. By revisiting these misunderstood figures, we gain fresh insights into their significance and, ultimately, a deeper understanding of ourselves. As we prepare to delve into why looking beyond these misconceptions matters, we are reminded that mythology, in all its forms, continues to challenge and inspire us. Now turning to why misunderstanding mythology matters, we begin to see how these ancient narratives are much more than just fantastical tales. They are profound reflections of human nature. These stories were crafted not merely to entertain but to embody the fears, hopes, and moral questions of their time. When we misinterpret these characters, we risk losing the deeper truths they were meant to convey. Take, for example, the recurring theme of transformation found in figures like Kali or the Morrigan. Misunderstanding their dual roles diminishes their ability to teach us about the balance between destruction and renewal, chaos and order. Similarly, ignoring the complexities of characters like Lilith or Prometheus means overlooking powerful lessons about autonomy, defiance, and the costs of progress. Myths function as cultural mirrors, revealing the values and anxieties of the societies that created them. When viewed critically, they offer insights not just into ancient worlds but also into the universality of human struggles. Misinterpreting these tales can lead to oversimplified narratives that strip away their richness and relevance. For example, reducing Loki to a mere antagonist inverts his essential function as a catalyst for growth and change, while painting Pandora solely as the bringer of misfortune erases her embodiment of human curiosity and resilience. Moreover, revisiting these narratives with fresh perspectives can challenge biases and foster deeper understanding. Medusa's story, for instance, takes on entirely new dimensions when reframed as a narrative about victimhood and empowerment. Such reinterpretations allow us to question how societal fears and dynamics influence the stories we inherit. Myths then become not just a lens into the past but a tool for examining present-day issues, from gender roles to moral ambiguity. Understanding mythology critically also reveals its role in shaping modern culture. From literature to film, these misunderstood characters continue to inspire and evolve, impacting how we interpret themes like justice, loyalty, and transformation. By peeling back the layers of misrepresentation, we unearth their enduring wisdom and relevance. These figures remind us that humanity's essence has remained remarkably consistent across the ages, a blend of strength and vulnerability, hope and fear, ambition and caution. Ultimately, to misinterpret mythology is to miss an opportunity to understand ourselves. These stories, though ancient, are alive in the ways they resonate with our experiences and emotions. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to embrace complexity, and to find meaning in dualities. As we conclude our exploration of these misunderstood mythological characters, let us take with us the reminder that these tales are not just relics of the past but living, breathing narratives that continue to shape and inspire our understanding of the world. Now turning to the conclusion of our journey through the 10 most misunderstood mythological characters, we find ourselves reflecting on their profound complexity and enduring significance. These are not merely figures frozen in the pages of ancient texts, but living symbols that continue to challenge, inspire, and teach us. From Medusa's transformation into a symbol of empowerment to Loki's role as a misunderstood catalyst of change, each character reveals layers of meaning that go far beyond their surface-level portrayals. Hades, often misjudged as sinister, teaches us the value of balance and fairness, while figures like Lilith and Pandora challenge us to rethink narratives of independence, curiosity, and resilience. Each misunderstood character invites us to reconsider the way we view dualities, heroes and villains, chaos and order, strength and vulnerability. They remind us that the essence of mythology lies not in black and white interpretations, but in the rich, multifaceted stories that reflect the complexity of the human experience. These narratives continue to shape modern media, art, and literature, proving that their relevance transcends time. As we wrap up, we leave you with one question: which of these myths have you misunderstood, and how has your perspective changed after hearing their stories? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into this fascinating conversation together. If you enjoyed exploring these tales, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more captivating mythological insights. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's most enigmatic figures. We can't wait to continue unraveling more myths with you in the future.